Hello, welcome back to Sector Wargaming. I am Ed, and I'm joined by... Martin. We attended the Warhammer World event not too long ago, because I go lots of events, and I tend to bring Martin along with us.
Yes, because I've got no willpower for events.
And I was like, do you want to go, Will?
Yes.
Martin, he's like, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
You owe me a lot of money in tickets, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, we go to lots of events together, and I wanted to do a few event roundups in the past, and I thought it's a pretty good one to start, obviously because 2.0 just kicked off. So all we're going to do is talk about what we took, our opponents, what we learned, what we thought about the whole thing, and just a general chit chat. Yeah. Awesome. So we had these tickets from first, way back when first was still a thing, and then obviously second became a thing, and they announced that it was a second edition tournament, which was obvious. Anyone who didn't realise it was going to be a second edition tournament is a bit of a loon.
Yep. Two Warhounds, man.
Two Warhounds, Benjamin Greaves.
Yes.
Bad man. But at this event you had to pick loyalist or traitor.
Yeah.
And we were both loyalists, so I took my White Scars and you took your Blood Angels. Bit about my list, I guess. It's not your standard White Scar-y stuff. Basically, I'd been chatting to a couple of the other people I knew were going White Scars players, and I knew they were both going to be doing Tregorian Brotherhood. Obviously, my plan was originally going to be Tregorian Brotherhood, but I thought, God, that would be dull for the traitors to end up playing so many.
Three lists, that was exactly the same.
At least 3 White Scar players, and that was the ones I knew of. So I decided to do a more... so the theme I came up with was Sons of Terror White Scar Originals, for all you Sons of Anarchy fans, which was all just sort of infantry based and in tanks and dreadnoughts, which you don't normally see in White Scars. And I set myself the goal of doing the Kratos for the event in White Scars colours, because you don't really see them that much. Yeah. But other than that, a couple of dreadnoughts, pair of Laser Vindies, Terminators with my Praetor in Tartarus armour in a Spartan, and TAC Marines with normal loadout in Rhinos. And the only bit of dodginess I had to do other than that was I went to the Warhammer World event a little that was previous to that.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble because I may have had 3D printed shoulder pads on my Marines at the time.
Yeah.
And one of the lads, also called Ed, damn, he has sharp eyes. So he spotted them, and he was very nice not to kick me out of the event, which was threatened. He just told me that I wasn't allowed to use that unit when they were on display for picking best armies. So God bless you, Ed. He did tell me that some of the other event organisers were a bit harsher and could have kicked me out.
You looked out, to be fair.
I did look out.
You could have been shown the door like a naughty boy.
I know. But so for this event, I had to take all my shoulder pads off all my Marines and put normal shoulder pads and the flags on some of my models. I had to change for Eldar ones instead of 3D printed ones. Anyway.
But it worked well.
It worked.
Yeah.
It was a ball ache to have to redo stuff, but
I saw the messages.
I didn't have to. I wanted to.
Yeah.
What about your list, my man?
I didn't really have a theme going into it. Obviously, these are Blood Angels I've collected for a couple of years. I went with the Day of Sorrows Rite of War, because with the new edition, it's actually fairly good. You don't have a lot of drawbacks now, where they were destroyed if you got the 50% or below. And I thought it'd be different from doing Day of Revelations, which I used to do in 1.0. I can't really comment on how it really affected the units, because most times I got wiped out in one go, so I never got a chance to really have the effect of hatred against everything. But I think I did once in the Iron Warriors game on my last game, but that was because I had 5 Assault Marines left after turn 2. But so I wanted to take an army that I enjoyed using. I've got a lot of love for the Blood Angels, so one of my favourite legions that are out there. Obviously I took the Glaive. I used to use it a fair bit in 1.0 because A, I love the model, and B, it was...
Bullshit!
Yes, it was bullshit because, AP2 Nose Cover was the great friend maker of me. But I took it for Rule of Cool. I still love the tank, even though it's been up in points and it's been heavily hit with the nerf of that. But I loved it. I discovered it was more effective at ramming than shooting against certain characters when I ran over Abaddon with its threat.
Nice.
But so I just went with the usual what I take with the Blood Angels, which is 2 15-man assault squads with apothecaries. I brought 3 HQs, which would be Raldoron, a Herald, and a Champion, because I love Raldoron and I love the models that I've paid for them. They were rocking with 7 Terminators with Chain Fist, Power Fist, and they were in the Spartan, and they were supported by a Leviathan and a Contemptor, which I had for anti-air and presumably shot down no aircraft that was there.
Yeah, aircraft is something I'm going to mention. But we're going to quickly blast through our games and what we thought. So all the missions were preset and they had been custom written by the rules teams of Games Workshop. We had a set, every single game was Dawn of War.
Yeah.
And every single game was only 4 turns long. Now, they did this because obviously we're all really new to the rules.
Yeah, brand new rules, new setups, everything.
I found most games were well done in the time period because they still gave us 2.5 hours for a game.
Yeah, it was quite a long time, and usually we're found around about the 50-minute mark left. That was when we're pretty much done with the games.
Yeah, but some people were still playing. There's always going to be some. But yeah, generally, so all games were 4 turns. Now, this did affect some people with reserve heavy lists.
Yeah.
So in my first game, I played a lovely gentleman called Matt, and he played Sons of Horus, and he was running pretty much just daring, deep striking in with some Nemesis Bolter guys for pinning, and then Dreadnoughts, and the big Horus himself. I should just preface this. I did ask everybody if they were okay with me showing pictures of their armies. It was so there's no pictures of them, but pictures of their armies they were all okay with. How it went? Interesting. He got very unlucky. So his Just Aaron didn't show up on turn 2. They showed up turn 3, so I had a lot more time to jump out. There were objectives to be getting hold of, so I had lots of time to jump out and get hold of them. And my Dreadnought swarmed his... so he had a big bunker of Terminators with Horus inside, and I just threw all 3 of my Terminators at it, and my... God, brutal 3 Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
They just utterly chewed. So because he was majority weapon skill, my Dreadnoughts were all going against his men, and then the Dreadnoughts were just holding out as Horus batted one at a time, killing them. But I held his army in place with my 3, and then scored points around him. So I did win that game, but it was more through Matt's bad luck of his Just Daring, because when they showed up, oh God, they killed things.
Yeah.
The Kratos did okay. It did blow up the unit of Nemesis Bolter Sniper and stuff, and my firepower was alright, but I learned how horrific Game 1 Dreadnoughts can be. I mean, Horus got through them, but he was held up, and because it was only a 4-turn game.
Having Brutal 3 on the regular Power Fist now is massive because it's Strength 9 AP 2, and it's 3 it's 3 invuln saves per 1 cause.
Yeah. Each one is instant death on a normal Marine.
And it's not just, you failed 1, you just take, you failed 2, you just take the 1 wound, you take a wound for every single one. It's just, it
really is. So against the majority weapon skill, my guys were smashing through turn. When it was just Horus, and I was hitting on 5s, different game. But up until that point, it was, so the Dreadnought's holding up the line. How about your game 1, mate?
Well, I played against, I believe his name was James. I'm terrible with names, so please forgive me for getting your name wrong. It was a very fun game against his World Eaters. I learned how nasty Angron can be in close combat when he murdered all 3 HQs in 1 round of combat, when he just went challenge, and just cut them down. He was a very nice lad, had a really good fun game of just getting stuck in with World Eaters. It's where I want to be in close combat with these 2 armies. I would say arguably World Eaters do it better, just for the sheer number of attacks that they get. But he was a very nice lad, had a really fun game with that, and obviously it was just getting used, just making sure that I had rules that I had learned in place and that I would be ready to go for after that.
Nice one. Angron's kind of... So the thing with challenges now is obviously you can just throw 1 man up there and go, kill me! And then everyone else piles in. Angron can just go, no. Especially if you fight those big units where everyone's like, everyone can individually challenge. He goes, I'm even happier. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, 4 hit. He just goes, Angron is...
His weapon skill 7 or 8, isn't he?
He's got to be at least 8, is he not?
I'm not sure. 9? I don't think he is 9.
I don't think he's 9.
I think he got reduced from...
No,
I'm not entirely too sure.
But he's still high.
Oh, he still kicks it in.
And obviously he's gone. He's got the better armour now. He's still got the feel no pain. He's got more wounds than ever before.
Yeah, he gains more attacks the more turns that go on.
He's a true demon now.
Yeah, he's got shred on his chain axe as well.
Of course,
the chain axe is like, he's strength 9. It's not enough that you win on 2s. You get rerolls.
Just in case.
Just in case.
My second game was against a lovely man called Daffyd, who I am not afraid to say got my favourite opponent against. Absolutely great game against Emperor's Children, and he had a Fury of the Ancients list. And we literally just smashed into each other. There was one objective in the middle, and if you held it, you gained the points. He kept throwing assault squads on top of it. I kept killing the assault squad, trying to get to the objective, and then it would be his turn. He'd throw another unit on top of it. Fucking absolute nightmare to get through.
Absolute mosh pit.
And I also learned how horrific the Emperor's Children advanced reaction is, because I didn't know they could do this. So basically, you to go, I charge you, and they go, I'll stop you there. I'll charge you, and because I'm an Emperor's Children, I'm a +1 initiative. Yeah. That was bad. So in this edition, knowing your enemy is massive.
Yeah, it does, yeah, because them advanced reactions, like, you'd think, they're just a once per battle thing, but they can have
really
such a huge effect at one point. You just don't expect it. You go, like, in the previous editions, your Spartans could just ping 4 las cannon shots at a team and, like, of las cannons and kill 4 of them. Now you can go, right, I'll return fire, and your Spartan's gone. It's really choosier with the reactions now to like, threat careful. Assessment and try and... Yeah. You've got to think more, which I quite like about it.
Yeah, definitely. You try and switch and baiting. And...
it's a lot more risk versus reward now.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I quite like.
There's definitely a lot less, I'm just going to fire some bottle shots just in case. It's more like, I'm just not going to shoot you.
Yeah.
It's weird. Because, there were a lot of 10-man las cannon teams for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah. Really good game. Fury of the Ancients was hard. He didn't play into it as hard as you can play into it. He only had about 4 or 5 dreads. And his Warlord was a dread, which means he couldn't hide, so I'd say easily snipe him out. He did take a lot of fire because he has got a 4-up invuln. But, the Warlord dread gains the 4-up invuln. But I had quite a lot of las cannons, so you can just sort of target focus. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
He's still only strength top of 7, isn't he? So
I believe so. I think they gain 1 more wound, though, don't quote me. They definitely gain an increased invuln.
Phantom is nasty.
Yeah.
So for my game 2, I played against a lovely lad from America with his 1,000 Suns. I learned halfway through the game he didn't have an up-to-date Liber Hereticus book, so he was actually using the points cost of 1.0 for his units. Yes, he turned up with no Codex and with no Liber Astartes book whatsoever.
Right.
So I think he was actually a lot undercosted.
I was going to say undercosted, because infantry's gone down a lot.
Yeah, it was still a close, tied game with multiple casualties on the side. But he was a lovely lad. Basically same again, having to throw units in the middle. I had to basically force feed 8 assault squad to Magnus to hold him off from clearing the centre objective, which by doing that basically helped me to squeak out a win with that. Because Magnus is still just as powerful with his meat stick.
He is good as Magnus.
Yeah, and he had a fair few segments, so they were quite chewy to get through. But like I said, he was a lovely lad, and it was really, really hard fought game, and I really enjoyed it.
Nice one.
Yeah.
My game 3 was against Emperor's Children again. Very different list though. This one was a gentleman called James, lovely lad in the Navy. He was running Eidolon in a big assault squad. And he had a couple of dreadnoughts, sun killers, which I have learned to hate. Obviously with las cannons. He was running the 3rd company, so they all had augmentics. So his apothecaries were basically giving him ignore, night fight, and all this. And obviously he sat in with the sun killers and a levy, and so a great, lovely army. I did drew with him in the end. Horrific game. I would have been smashed, but James had some really terrible luck. He tried to pick on my Spartan, but got unlucky and only did 5 hull points, whereas they now have 6 in his turn 1, so my Spartan lived to turn 1. So he didn't get first kill on the first turn, things like this. He tried, my Leviathan charged his Leviathan, he pulled the Emperor's Children advanced reaction, so his levy would have charged mine, and it would have been +1 initiative, and I've kind of found now, when Dreadnoughts hit, they just kill each other.
Yeah.
But his would have been at +1 initiative, so it would blow me up, and he failed the charge.
Did he still shoot you though?
He still shot me, but it was a combat, so he missed that. And then my men proceeded to basically move around and butcher his, and then we all decided I could have run away because Eidolon was sat in the middle, but there was no way. We were like, look, we're going to have a bit of an honourable battle. And I fed my plain Tartarus Terminator Praetor to Eidolon. It's a great fight. James forgot quite a few of his rules as he said at the end. He was like, oh crap, I get X and I get Y and I get Z, which I found to be quite a thing over the event because obviously loads of new rules and everyone's trying to play cool stuff.
It's only been a month and a half?
If that. And I mean, I'd only had one game before going down, things like that. That's why I kind of was glad taking a plain list because it was fairly easy to remember. I did try to be quite savvy in this game, so obviously I had the Sun Killers, big unit, 10-man, evil, BS5, precision shot, ignoring cover if you say it still. God, they're horrific with the apothecary. So my rhinos were firing their multi-melter shots up into them, they're pinging bolter shots. I was trying to fire all small arms fire basically.
Just to try and bait them.
I just wanted to either kill 1 or 2 or 3 or get him to go I return fire, because then I held my Kratos in reserve ready to blow them up. It's pretty obvious when you're doing it. So James was like, yes, I'm not returning fire. I was like, do you want to return? He's like, no. So he was very savvy with that, but I kind of felt that's how you kind of have to do it, trying to plink 1 or 2 off. Didn't work, but James's bad luck meant that I eked out a draw on that one, but it was really fun. And that advanced reaction to the Emperor's Children, you really have to know your opponent's legion now or they can pull tricks. If you're wondering, my advanced reaction, it's definitely built more for the bikes. So do you know what the White Scars one is?
It was wasn't it where you just moved?
Everything within 12 of a unit that has arrived or moved can go their full distance.
Alright.
So with my infantry and tanks, it's good, don't get me wrong, it saved me a couple of times, but with bikes, obviously you're bombing 15, 18 inches, X, Y, and Z, which is amazing.
You get +1 movement as well.
You get +1 movement. So Doug, it was good. It was definitely built for more the bikes. It was quite good a couple of times. The dreadnoughts would be moving up to my tanks and I'd go, full movement this way. So I did avoid a couple of contemptors charging my Kratos here a couple of times, which was good. What's your advanced reaction now?
Yeah, it's in the shooting phase. Basically, if you target a unit with shooting attacks within 12 inches, I can choose to gain Shrouded 5+, and then once you have concluded your shooting attack, I can then make a charge against that unit, which I did against the Thousand Suns player Sekhmet, to then lock them in and drew Magnus in. So it's quite situational because obviously you have to make the charge distance and obviously you can still take casualties, but being able to then lock that unit in and deny them the charge bonuses, especially for such elite units as Sekhmet, you don't want them to get the charge bonus on you.
Absolutely. So what was your game 3?
I was against another lad, I believe he was also called James. They
get about. They get
about a fair few Jameses. Against his Iron Warriors, and they are he was a really nice lad. I enjoyed playing against him. Really good fun game. I learned the horrific ways of their advanced reaction of shoot twice back in the overturn fire, to which my poor Spartan got annihilated in one go. Because they've got strength 10 las cannons per the
against
Legion
vehicles. They're
trait.
basically strength 10 Sunder las cannons.
Yeah, it was a very close fought game. He came very close to killing the glaive. It went down to 1 whole point at one point, and I had to pass 3 5-up cover saves to keep it alive at the very end of the game. Fortunately,
nice.
I think that was the last model on the table at that point. But I think he had Perturabo with the Tyrants. It's a bit foggy with the list.
It's been a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, it's been a while, he won that, I think it was 12-8 points wise. It was
close.
Yeah, it was a really fun game. Fun game. And he was, like I said, lovely fellow. It's playing against other legions that you don't usually get a chance to. I quite like. I mean, there's not an Emperor's Children player.
That's why it was really nice. Especially with this edition, obviously the old edition Emperor's Children were, like, let's not have it wrong, they were garbage. They were utterly useless. Whereas now, they've definitely upped in the ranks. So seeing a few of them about was really nice. Yeah.
The problem with Emperor's Children was they were one of the original traitor legions. They were like one of the very first legions that were rules written. So as the edition progressed, obviously they were kind of like, whereas now they're back up there where realistically really they should be, because they're supposed to be perfect warriors.
Their advanced reaction's good, their legion trait being +1 initiative on the charges.
Yeah.
Shoo!
And that even affects power fists as well.
Does it?
Yeah, because it increases, because it says you add 1 to the initiative step after other rules. So Unwieldy 1, you then add an initiative to that. Initiative
That's
2.
savage.
I believe that's correct. When I've read it, if I'm wrong, please let us know in the comments. But when I've read the rules with it worded like that,
That's huge.
It is
That's
huge.
massive. That's great. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, and obviously they're such a cool legion. It's nice to see them about. Like,
So
so I was thrilled to play.
Yeah, there was 2 different schemes, wasn't there? There was a metallic one.
Yeah,
Metallic's
Metallic's about, and then there's the flat purples. I like both. And they're such a good. You can do loads with them. You can make a prim prop pretty, or you can go insane.
Yeah.
So I like the soldier. Game 4. So this was day 2. I got drawn against an Alpha Legion player from Norway. He told me to call him Eric, but I believe it was something like Stein Eric. Absolutely lovely lad, and I got to practice my Norwegian with him. So tusen takk, Eric. He absolutely annihilated me. Alpha Legion can off. My God, the tricks they have. I was not prepared, in the words of Illidan. So literally, he had a 10-man last cannon squad, of course, with Alfarius in it. He had a big 10-man blob of Tartarus Terminators. He was using 5 Galvor back, and then he just had an assorted unit of Dreadnoughts, of course. A couple of attack marines, and then he had some speeders all over. Honestly, I think he came 2nd place painting.
No, he was third. He was third. Finnegan's came 2nd.
Finnegan's 2nd. They were
beautiful.
They were so good. They won 3rd place, and they were gorgeous. It was wonderful to play him, and he was such a nice guy. So basically, he won roll off. So he deployed first. Then he told me that he was very open. I'm making this sound bad. He was very open. He told me what he was doing. He can infiltrate, outflank, or deep strike 3 units. So he chose to infiltrate the 10-man Tartarus and the Galvor back. So obviously I didn't know where they were going to go. And he can redeploy 3 units after I've deployed. So that was great. So
is that part of the Legion trait, or was that?
I don't know if it's Alfarius or what, but my God, it hurt. So literally, he deployed his army, big 10-man last cannon squad over there, and I went, yeah, so my tanks will be over here. And he went, yeah. That's just like, cheers, mate. And then infiltrated his Terminators right in front of me and his Galvor back right in front of me. And obviously he gets to place them where he wants them. And he just like,
I mean, that's peak Alpha Legion, all about deception.
Oh, totally.
Style.
Just threw me all over the place.
Yeah.
And then obviously they count as being 2 inches away, further than anything you know.
Including charges as well.
Everything.
So
the only bit, and I would love for the internet to correct me, my Spartan just went, screw it, up the gut, straight towards the 10-man last cannon squad. They shot it in their turn 1 and took off 5 hull points from it, so it was limping along on 1. My turn, I shot them. They returned fire and destroyed it in my turn. So I'd already moved my 12 inches. I disembarked, passed my pinning check, and then I charged him. And he was like, well, you can't charge me because you moved more than your distance. And I went, yeah, you're right, but you blew up my vehicle with return fire. So now I'm out of an assault vehicle that blew up and can assault. Now, again, internet, correct me if we were wrong, because we were very happy to wrong, but it didn't matter, because he declared Overwatch for the 10-man last cannon team. So my boys, on the charge, and obviously I'm just Tartarus armor with 5 up invulns, got absolutely blown. It was definitely a charge of the Light Brigade as 10-man last cannon team annihilated me, but there wasn't much I could do, but it was lovely. And then the rest of the game, Alfarius proceeded to bump around. He did split Alfarius off at one point on his own, and I was just like, every last cannon, go for the honour, kill him, kill him! I got Alfarius down to 1 wound, but it wasn't enough to kill him. He jumped back into his bunker and he survived, so I have a fully renewed hatred of Alpha Legion. They are phenomenal. Just the combination of all their rules is...
When you come across a player who knows how to play the Legion strengths, you really truly appreciate the shenanigans that you can come up with.
Definitely noticed. It was great. I had great fun playing him, but yeah, they tore me apart. It was not a close game.
Pretty much how most of my games went.
Yeah. Your game 4, sir?
So I played against, I believe his name was Luke again. Sorry if I get your name wrong. And his Sons of Horus, and I'll be honest, he got my favourite game.
Good.
I loved his list. It was an orbital assault with all drop pods.
Nice.
So basically, he went, you deploy, I wait for, I'll come on turn 1, and he got turn 1, and oh my god, he had 2 Leviathans smash into my front lines, and it must have been about 8 or 9 drop pods that came in. It was just the fact it was Sons of Horus and the drop pod assault was just so thematic to me.
Tip
of the spear assault, just the go in straight for the kill. I loved it, and he was a phenomenal painter as well. I loved the Sons of Horus. They were outstanding. But yeah, Leviathans came in. He had a missile team deployed at the back. He had veterans come in. It was something truly amazing. Just watching drop pods slamming, surrounding your army and looking and going, these look a bit outnumbered.
Because now you place one, don't you? And that scatters, and then everyone else comes within
24 inches,
laser guided.
Yeah, and I believe on a roll of a 1 it counts as disorder, which then you get the place where the drop pods land. But it's very, very, very entertaining watching.
Nice.
Oh, there's 1 minute the table's clear, and next thing you know, there's an army there.
And it's not even half coming; it's all coming.
It's all coming, yeah. So it's not like where was it? Oh, you rounded up. It's now everyone comes in.
Jesus.
Yeah, and let me tell you something.
So you won?
No, no. It was a really fun game. I had a few fun moments in it. Especially with the double Leviathan explosion in the middle of the board. Yes.
Go.
So my Leviathan was down to 3 wounds, basically trying to run up the board to claim the objectives, because we had objectives in both deployment zones, and the aim was to try and clear it. And I just went, the Levy is going to try and get up there, just clear out the enemy, just smash out any squad he can. And he had his Leviathan chase after my Leviathan, and where he was also down to 3 wounds after a horrifically failed attempt of close combat with Ralderon. Ralderon survived, but not for long. So he shot my Leviathan, and it got him. He got him down to about 1 wound, I believe, with the shooting. I then decided to return fire, and I used the assault cannons, which get hot on the on reactions. So I proceeded to kill myself with the return fire. However, the explosion for my Leviathan...
Because Red's auto-explode.
Because they auto-explode now, which is amazing. Because it's strength 8. It's AP dash, but the fact it will still
instant
killer Terminators. Stripped the last wound off of his Leviathan as well. So I had a double Leviathan explosion in the middle.
That is great.
I killed a few missile launchers, and I did a couple of hull points to the drop pods that he had scattered around, but just the fact of just that chain of events led to just a double explosion was pretty hilarious. The glaive, it killed some things, mainly with the las cannons, because that's the only real effective weapon on this thing, when you can just tank auto fight so it saves on it. It needs at least some form of breaching or rending. It's a 700 point super heavy tank, and it's basically a paperweight. But it's a beautiful tank.
It's cool. It's so cool.
It is a lovely tank.
Awesome.
And basically because Abaddon is battle hardened, I couldn't instant kill him with the shooting. But I realised that a ram attack from a super heavy is strength 10, and you do 2d6 hits with the impact. So I managed to get 11 hits with the super heavy and managed to grind Abaddon beneath his tracks.
Nice.
So it was another highlight of the game. The fact that I had to resort to ramming the tank. And I couldn't even make use of my Blood Angels trait because it caps at 10. So I couldn't even go, it's strength 11, no, it's a flat 10.
I mean, it's still good enough.
Yeah,
still good enough, you don't need it. Yeah. Game 5 was against a absolutely wonderful gentleman for me called David. We met David the last time we went to the Warhammer World event previous to this, where you played him.
I did, yes, and he is an amazing hobbyist with a very creative idea from that event.
From that event he played Imperium Secundus, which was awesome. So he basically had 6 different lists.
Yeah.
He had all 3 Primarchs, all 3 Legions, and you got a choice.
It was 2,000 points of a legion led by the Primarch with 1,000 points of allied, and I loved the idea behind it. It was so well executed.
He didn't look at what you had and go, all right, well, I'm going to play this list because it'll be the best. He gave you the choice of like, which one would you like to play against?
He literally did,
So
cool. It was just the fact that he was like, choose what you want to play against. I was like, cool. I asked him what he hadn't played yet, and I had a look. And I went, I've never played against the Lion before, so I'll have him against the Ultramarines.
So that was the last event, but obviously we got chatting to him, we got noticed, so we grudge matched because I'd never played him, and I went up against his 1,000 Sons, who had Magnus in a massive blob of 20 breaches because he was doing shenanigans of basically giving them 3-up invulns. He was doing massive shenanigans, it was great.
So a regular day for Magnus then?
Yeah, regular day, but there were so many points sunk into this main blob That again, I just threw all my Terminators, all my Dreadnoughts into it, and then we just had this massive battle. And I pulled a very whack maneuver.
Oh, what did you do?
It wasn't total whackness, but it was pretty wacky.
You're one of those guys.
I had the Warlord trait where when my Warlord dies, everyone who saw him gains Fearless. So I went, I challenge you, Magnus. And let Magnus beat my Warlord into the ground, and everyone just went, ha! We're holding still now, and just wailed into him. And we were hitting him on 5s, and he has this really cool ability where he can do like a, you know the old Vulcan trick where he like it was a template around him.
Smash attack, yeah.
He basically has a psychic power that blasts everyone around him. It's only strength 6, but it was really cool, so like an extra attack. So I spent turn after turn after turn of him like challenging out my chaplain and then challenging and the sergeant just beating people into the ground, and my Dreadnoughts just trying desperately to get any hits on him, but hitting him on 5s was really difficult. But and this is where brutal is horrific. In I think it was about the 3rd or the 4th round of combat, both Dreadnoughts got 1 hit off each. So that's 6 dice he has to roll, and he rolled horrifically, and Magnus just went down. I mean, he'd taken a wound here or there before. You just think like literally 2 hits from Dreadnoughts got through. That's it.
That's all it takes now.
It's brutal. You're just like, oh my god, but hitting on 6 is really good. But such a cool game. I did end up losing again because of objectives, and the rest of his army ground up my men. But it was absolutely, I had such a good game against David. He's such a great bloke. If you're watching, David, thank you very much, mate, and I will happily challenge you again. Your last game, sir.
So I played against Kevin with his Iron Warriors, so I got to play against Iron Warriors twice.
Aren't you lucky?
Yes, I'm very lucky. Yes, love Iron Warriors.
Get
But he brought an interest in this. He had Perturabo, 3 Iron Circle Domitars as well.
Oh yeah.
He had some Tyrants, a few squads of Cataphractite Terminators. It was quite an actual fairly not nasty list of Iron Warriors. What I was expecting, like because obviously we've seen the whole las cannons, tyrants having strength 9 missile launchers. Yeah, it was but it was a really fun game. It was with the objective, which it scattered 2d6 at the time, so it never stayed still.
I forgot that.
So it wasn't like you would just set an objective. No, you had to move with the objective, and I won the roll off, and it just went straight into his his deployment. So I had to basically try and dig out an objective in his deployment with all of those nasty shenanigans that were waiting for me. And it literally came down to the objective moving around. You couldn't just really plan, lock people in and just hold it. It just moved. And I quite liked it because
it was 2d6 scout, wasn't it?
It was 2d6, yeah.
Every turn.
Yeah, it's a good game. It was pretty funny. At one point, I ended up just jumping back and forth over a building in the middle. So I was like, yes, I had it. I jumped over his side. I went, no!
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. But he ended up winning. He winning just by the obviously objective markers, but had a big scrum fest with Perturabo and Ralderon. Poor Ralderon. He got smashed.
He got crushed.
He got crushed.
Cool. Right. Couple of things we noticed about the edition, or at least from the event.
Yes.
10-man las cannons are just as bad as you thought.
Yes, the points reduction and the las cannons being cheaper.
Reacting all over the shot.
Yeah.
They're amazing. I don't know what I think about 2 squads, and I definitely wouldn't do 3. Maybe if you Death Guard because you can move.
Maybe, yeah, but I would also mix them with some more heavy weapons as well.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think, but definitely 10-man las cannons.
10 will get the job done.
Phenomenal now.
Especially with having Sunder.
Yeah, honestly, you put a Master of Signals, you put an Apothecary, and you just have a good time. Nothing can nothing can do much against you.
Yeah.
Contemptors are amazing.
Yes.
A little change I would make to my Contemptors are I would put a Grav gun in the fist, because Grav, as well as being Haywire, which is phenomenal, also has Concussive, which is -1 weapon skill. So you say, because what I found was Dreadnoughts, even on 1 wound fighting another Dreadnought, because you're brutal and you're both hitting on the same and you're wounding on the same, you both just knock each other out. Because, like I say, brutal, it's insane.
Yeah.
But if you've hit them with Grav, which you'll either do on the Overwatch or in your turn before you've shot into them, you go, cool, I'm hitting you on 3s and you're hitting me on 5s, and that is massive.
Yeah.
So I would definitely put Grav in my fists, whereas I was running Melter, thinking that was the way to go. Grav. Grav.
Yeah.
For that concussion. Flyers, didn't see any. I saw 1 Xiphon No one is bringing flyers
Yeah.
because of that interceptor rule. Xiphons being 115 points, which is cheap and easy to bring. People are just going, why would I spend 300 points on a Fire Raptor? Whereas the last Sterling event we went to, it was Fire Raptors everywhere.
Yeah.
It
was like Heathrow, wasn't it?
Yeah,
all the
it
aircraft
was
flying around.
definitely.
It was
I've never seen so many aircraft. Everyone was just
impressive, but it was
everyone
also
saying goodbye
time.
to the Fire Raptor that event.
Yeah.
I didn't. I saw a couple of Xiphons because everyone's just gone screw it. I just want to bring
I came
aircraft
close
in.
to bringing the Fire Raptor.
Did you?
But I wanted to bring
Yeah.
the paperweight because I love the look of it.
And the Fire Raptor's still good, but the idea of a Xiphon just flying on and blowing you up, whichever way of the rule you interpret there, whether it's the Xiphon snap firing or not snap firing,
It's still that threat.
amazing.
The fact that you come on and it comes on in your
Automatically
turn and
shoots.
gets to shoot you,
Yeah.
it's like, oh.
Why would you do that? And why would you bring a Storm
Yeah.
Eagle? Why risk it?
Yeah, and then if you're not prepared for it, then all of a sudden his flyer's already on the board, and oh look, it can fly and attack your aircraft.
Yeah.
You don't get the interceptor because it's already on the board.
It's there. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one.
But I do like it because it's
cool.
supposed to be an interceptor.
It is absolutely cool.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to do aircraft, you now need to do mass aircraft because obviously, but will they all arrive at the same time? Because the reserves are still.
I think it would
individual
depend on
roles.
the rate of war because I think Angel's Wrath they can have all Storm Eagles for their transport
at the same time.
Imagine saying that five Storm Eagles. Yeah, I think I've seen an Emperor's Children guy who's working on 100 the spoilers that go in, 5 Storm Eagles to come flying in. I think that would be really cool to see. Weapon skill changes massive.
Weapon skill is huge. Huge! Hitting things on 5s versus hitting things on 4s as was.
Yeah.
It's massive. So elite Terminators going against
Feel
normal
elite.
against
Feel
normal
elite.
Terminators, you go, Jesus Christ! Like, oh, I've got power fists. I don't care. You hit me on 5s. Smash. Hitting Primarchs. It's just
Not as easy of a task anymore.
It makes the elites feel elite.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And the fact that if you're double their weapon skill, you're now hitting them on 2s and then on
you're
6s.
Yeah,
and if like you said with concussive, you reduce their weapon skill even more.
So things you've seen, Cerberus knocks it down by, is it 3 or 4?
3.
3. The Venator knocks it down by 3. So you hit a Leviathan or someone's Dreadnought with that.
A regular tactical marine hits it on 2s.
Yeah,
so
so
6s.
you're really enjoying life. I said the Venator, didn't I? Yeah. Grab's the big one. Just knocking off one weapon skill is massive.
It makes all the difference. It does.
That's you. Yeah.
Haywire against Dreadnoughts as well.
Great.
Yeah. You overrun them on 2s, but 6s you don't get invuln saves against it.
So
it's
2
also
straight to invuln.
Yep. But 6s ignores it.
6s ignores it. So Grab is phenomenal against Dreadnoughts.
I learned that the horrible way in my 5th grade because Kevin's Contemplars had the Graviton fists from the Iron Warriors. And he proceeded to beat the crap out of my Leviathan, which I then had to send Raldoran's Terminators in to go rescue, which you usually didn't have to do with the Leviathan. So that was a bit of a wake-up call for the
I don't rate Leviathans anymore.
Yeah, they're nice. They're just so points compared to a Contemptor.
I sent my levy against a normal Contemptor, and they just knock each other out. So my levy goes, yay! And his goes at the same initiative, with the same weapon skill, with the same brutal 3. The only difference was I was strength 10, because I had the Snippy Claw, versus he was strength 9.
And you were toughness 8, he was toughness 7.
So he was wounding me on 3s, I was wounding him on 2s. It's the only difference I saw.
And the fact that they've been knocked from a 4+ invulnerable 5+.
Which is exactly the same as the other guys. Yes, you've got one more wound, but brutal just goes, I don't care. So I love a levy. I would take a Contemptor over a levy.
Walking the levy across the field is probably not as it's just not a good idea. It will just get shot off the board, and if a Contemptor gets a hold of it, it's just not going to go well for it.
No. I'm also more tempted. So I ran my Contemptors with a las cannon each and a fist each. I would probably just go dual fist and literally turn 1, run straight forward.
That extra attack makes all the difference.
Because you're moving, is it 12 inches you'll be going? Yeah,
yes.
8 inch then plus 8 inch, so that's 12 inches.
13 inches for you.
13 because I'm a White Scar, bombing straight in and going, look at me! And Dreadnoughts are hard to kill.
Yes.
They are hard to kill.
We learned Fury of the Ancients was a bit of a nasty war.
So I didn't have to play, so I played the 1 Fury, but it wasn't as built as it could be.
Yes.
but it is horrific. Dreadnoughts do everything well. They fight well, they shoot well, they reaction full. It's not like defensive weapons.
Yeah.
They auto-explode. They are, you're just like, Jesus Christ, there's nothing Dreadnoughts don't do. They can, if you tool them up to be shooting, you can give them helical targeting arrays. Yeah. They ignore night fighting.
They ignore cover as well.
They ignore cover.
You can gain Skyfire.
Dreads do bad. Yeah. And you can go, I'll just bring one at 175 points, bare bones, and it's still very good.
Yeah.
Dreadnoughts are the way. Vehicles are definitely not, in my opinion.
But you can't say no to a good vehicle.
You can't say that. Vehicles are so... Because Armoured Ceramite's gone.
Yeah.
Javelins were great.
They're cavalry now, aren't they, javelins?
Yeah, so I got attacked by javelins coming from outflank. You shoot them, they return fire at full because they can do whatever they want. Yeah. My Spartan firing 4 las cannons at them, one of them didn't hit, so the thing lives. Whereas before, it was you fire las cannons at a javelin, it's doomed. Now they live. Javelins are phenomenal. My Tartarus Praetor was trash. He's only got a 5-up invul and he can't have an Iron Halo, but he's cheap. I would have loved to have a Herald. Heralds are amazing. Heralds give your units line. So, they make them scoring?
They, as far as I say, they only cause Fearless and Fear 1.
Heralds make the unit scoring.
That was the Heralds console upgrade. They used to, I think they used to in the old edition.
No, in this rules. Heralds make your units.
I'll have to check that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, because everyone was doing it. Yeah, you add a Herald to a unit and it's suddenly scoring because it's got a Legion banner.
Yeah.
So normal turns which aren't scoring anymore, you are suddenly fearless and scoring. Boom!
Yeah.
Which is great. I didn't hit as much pinning as I expected to hit, but I think that was just people haven't quite got the units to be doing it yet. I would have changed my last thing I would have changed my battle tank. I would have put full Volkite loadout on it. Yeah. I did very much like the battle cannon. Every now and then I found it was quite useful because dreadnoughts were everywhere, being able to fire the strength 8 AP2 solid shot. I found that very useful, but I would have, in more situations, I would have rather had the 12 shot strength.
12 shots, yeah, strength 7.
Volkite, which is still pinning, because I took this to cause a bit of pinning with its blast. I would have rather had.
And Deflagrate as well.
And Deflagrate. It was useful because the other weapons were all able to split fire and fire at closest infantry units, and this was firing off at wherever I wanted. It was quite useful, but I'd have put that Volkite. Otherwise, I had great fun playing my list, and everyone was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. Ralderon as well, being able to choose any Legion.
Yeah, Ralderon's huge.
As long as it's loyalist. I did take him with the Imperial Fist. I've been playing Imperial Fist myself, and I've already forgotten the trait. It's the one that gives him and his unit +1 weapon skill, which bumps Ralderon up the weapon skill 8. So he's a bit of, and the fact having my Terminators are weapon skill 5, if they get stuck in with elite units, then they're not as much on the back foot as what they usually be. Ralderon on the charge is a bit of a monster.
Yeah.
He's strength 7 on the charge.
Is he instant death as well?
No, because he's only strength 7. He gets Murderous Strike.
Murderous Strike, yeah. I was going to say
Strike. I think it's 5+, but he's Shred on the blade as well. And it's not a two-handed, and it's not specialist, so you get a +1 attack for having a bull pistol.
Yeah. So
he's a bit of a monster until you run into a Leviathan and he passes all of his invuln saves and he just goes.
The last thing I would mention is finding out about rending. Horrific!
Auto-wounding.
So I didn't realise or know before I went there that no matter what the toughness of anything you're fighting is on the roll of, and whatever your rending is, you cause that AP2 wound.
Yeah.
So Raven Guard, there's a gentleman in the out there called James Roche. You know what you did. You know.
Oh yeah, the Primarch killer, wasn't
The Primarch killer. Basically had Mordathan squads who once again can activate rending on 4-up. So he did it with Volkite, Combi Volkite, and would just go rending on 4s against Primarchs. I think they've got precision shot. And the Deflagrate still has the same AP2.
Does it?
Yep. You know what you did, and you're a bad man, and I love you for it. So well done.
Yeah, Nemesis bolters as well.
Nemesis bolt is horrific, and there is a World Eater's weapon called a Falx Blade or a Flax Blade that is rending 4 up. It's amazing. It means lightning claws have a chance.
Yes.
So rending is now, holy crap, and you go, I'm a Leviathan, I'm Iron Warriors, I'm toughness, Iron Hands, I'm toughness 9, and you go, I don't care, clink.
Yep.
So rending is huge. So that was the last thing I remember to say. You got anything else?
No, just over that. I'm really enjoying 2.0. I'm looking forward to the next event.
There's a lot to learn, I saw a couple of people on the internet. The tickets did go out for sale for the next event, which was in November, and the rumours are absolutely true. Every single person who attended this event was given a free ticket, which is why there were basically none for you to buy. I'm very sorry.
The reasons behind that, I believe, was because not all the factions were present on release, so obviously no Mechanica and Custodes, Demons, thank God. No Knights. Obviously it just meant that some players were like unable to bring what they wanted to bring. So as a gesture of goodwill, they give us free tickets.
All give us free tickets. So that's why there were very, very few. I can't imagine there.
I don't even know, because every single player there
just was like, oh, free ticket, okay. I can't remember what I was going to say.
He puts on the spot now.
Yeah.
Should have written this one.
I should have written this, absolutely. Babel. Oh, yes, one more thing. There was if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, here's one for you. At the event, there was able to buy Lucius, and we were able to buy Marduk. The 2 characters of which, I think Marduk is on pre-order.
He's on pre-order.
But you cannot buy Lucius. However, in a couple of days' time, Sector Wargaming are going to do a first captain's battle where we will be fighting all the first captains. And if you watch that video and comment something we will tell you at the time, you will be able to win Lucius, because I bought the model and we are going to give him away to you lovely people. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, watch the first captain's battle and you've got a little heads up before them. Otherwise, thank you very much, Martin.
Pleasure.
We'll probably do many. And the other thing is, we are going to put our 2 armies against each other in the near future. So that will be another
guest rematch, long in the making.
Yeah, because Martin absolutely ruffle-stomped me last time with his wackest list of doom.
Well, that's your fault for toning down your list, wasn't it? Because, I've got the message.
I come to you.
Look what happened.
Look what happened. So, we are going to have a fight with these exact lists at some point, and we'll just chat through. Otherwise, we attend many events. If you see us, please feel free to come and say hello. We're very lovely chaps.
We've got 3 more events this year, aren't we?
This year we've got 2.
2 and then 1 in April.
We've got 1 in April. So we've got Warhammer World. We've got Stirling, run by the Warzone Scotland lads, who are absolutely lovely.
Yes.
And then we've got an attrition one down in Southampton. Attrition I went to this year in March, and I'm sorry to all the other events I attended, but it's my favourite event I ever went to. Everyone was lovely and it was great. So I cannot wait to go to attrition again. I wanted to do an event review about attrition, but no one was available to talk to me, and I thought it'd be a bit dull, just me chatting. So attrition down in Southampton, absolutely wonderful lads will be there.
Yep.
And if you have any events you know of, please send me a message. I come to as many as the wife lets me to, basically.
Yes. And I'll probably be there with him because he drags me down there. He said drags, but really I love coming.
I know, yeah.
I love Warhammer.
Oh, yeah. We both work well, don't we?
Yeah, we both work well.
The driving works well.
Yeah. Not so much the accommodations though.
No, we've had very hit and miss with accommodation. Airbnb, it's good and bad. Right, we're waffling. I'm waffling. Thank you for watching Sector Wargaming. We will be back and catch us soon.
Bye.